We have pretty much covered section 4, which is development. We'll look a bit more in terms of the code review process and the Git flow process and the merge process. But at a high level, we are um, past the development section and will now concentrate on the continuous integration. So we already have installed Jenkins. So let me open up a terminal here and we make sure get to the home directory here and let's double check if we still have Jenkins running, which it is. So I'm going to go to the browser here, and since we changed the port where it's going to run, we're going to go to 8090. So let's log in, and the default password is password and admin and password, right? So we have Jenkins up and running. So the first thing that we need to concentrate on is to be able to configure SSH for Jenkins, because Jenkins is actually running as a different user than the default dev user. So we would need to be able to give Jenkins the permission to talk to Git. So we need to set up SSH for Jenkins. And the second aspect of it is we need the Jenkins user to be able to push the artifacts to the artifactory, right? So we need to set up the Maven settings for Jenkins as well. So let's start with the SSH, and we'll follow the same procedure of what we did with the regular user account. We'll do the same thing with the Jenkins user. So the first thing that we need to do is, let me go ahead and clear this. I need to log in as a Jenkins user. So I'm going to do sudo su, and I have logged in as a Jenkins user. So it's going to complain about the parse git branch, which is fine. Do not worry about that, because we had it on my user profile, and it's still loading from the default user profile for Jenkins. So we can do a couple of things. We can actually go to the home of the Jenkins user, and we can do bash. Actually, we won't actually touch the bash profile for Jenkins. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is do the settings for SSH. So I'm going to go back to GitHub SSH settings, and we'll just follow the documentation of generating a new SSH key. So we'll follow the same process, and in this case, the user, the email address with which the GitHub account is tied, that will still remain the same. So go ahead and do that and click on enter, right? So we passed that. Now we need to start the agent or register the agent with the new SSH, and we need to add this to the SSH keys created for Jenkins. So if I do ls-al, I should see a SSH, right? And I should see the RSA private and the public keys, right? So if I go back to my home account for Jenkins, let's go ahead and do the same thing of what we need to do with copying the SSH. So I'm going to copy it to the clipboard, log into my GitHub account, and go to my settings, go to SSH, and I'm going to add a new one called Jenkins. And I think it actually didn't copy. So let me see if it actually does copy. to the clipboard. Okay, so it's not copying to the clipboard, but we should be able to go to SSH and if I do more id dot pub, right, I should be able to copy all of this from here all the way to here and copy and paste it here. It's going to ask me the password. So now basically I have two SSH keys. One for the default dev account, that is the primary account that I have been logged in as, and two, we are going to create SSH key for Jenkins so that Jenkins can actually talk to GitHub to push the code when we are doing a release, right? So you can add many keys within your GitHub profile, but this is the first part of setting up Jenkins to be able to talk to GitHub. Okay, so we're done with the setup for the SSH. Now we need to do the copy of the settings and the settings XML or settings security XML to the home account for Jenkins. So let's take a look and let's do ls-al to list all the folders and hidden directories. We're going to create a directory called m2, right? And let's see, it should be a hidden. And now I'm going to copy from my dev user account to the m2 folder here for the Jenkins. So sudo su and it would be dev and copy from users dev .m2 .xml to .m2 okay, it's not liking my password. Okay, so let me go ahead and kill this. I think I'll have to sudo as Jenkins, not as, actually let's just try this here. Okay, so I think that actually worked. So let me do that. And I'm in the settings in my m2 folder, and I do have the two files that I needed to copy to the Jenkins home directory, right? So if I do pwd and if I do cd, and I should have the setup for the Maven as well as the setup for the SSH to talk to GitHub.